As we come up on the end of yet another Halloween season, I'm feeling nostalgic. So today I want to talk about memories from the past and memories that I'll never have again, but I'll cherish forever.
She stopped at a light and saw him walking in that field behind the Lost River Drive-In. Julie said he was so creepy.
Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I just want to talk. I want to talk about October. I want to talk about Halloween. I want to talk about memories. I just want to dig into nostalgia here. A year ago I did this same video, and it went over really well on my channel. Today's is a little bit different though. See, in that video I did last year, I talked about specific things from my childhood that I remember. The candies, the drinks, all those kind of things. Just the general vibe. For this video today, I really want to get more into like the micro. I want to speak about specific memories and specific things. Now, really what spurred this was I was on Instagram Reels, and I was going across Instagram Reels of, the sad ones of Christmases come and gone and Halloween's come and gone. And I don't know about you guys, but now that I'm in my 30s, that really hits different. Like there's something about that that is so melancholy, but also comforting. It's a really weird feeling to try to describe because we remember those times. I know that I vividly remember what it was like to dress up for Halloween, like the day of Halloween, or the closest day if Halloween ended up on a weekend that year. And everybody was trying to be the coolest thing they could be. They wanted to impress the girl, or they wanted to impress their friends. And I just remember how cool that was and how nerve-wracking it was too, growing up in a family that was middle class that didn't really have the money until the last minute to get a Halloween costume. So sometimes it was slim pickings. I remember what that bus ride was like going home on Halloween, or again, the day closest to Halloween, and knowing that you were about to go out into the night and trick or treat and see a bunch of really cool stuff that you were going to remember forever. I specifically remember thinking about how I couldn't wait to see which houses were doing what for Halloween. Like who was going to try to scare you, finding the houses that had like massive amounts of decorations that really go all out. I'll never forget the people that would have like boom boxes in their windows that would just play a CD of like Halloween horror themes. It was just Halloween music. You would have the Nightmare on Elm Street theme, Halloween, Tubular Bells, like all of those things. And you'd walk up to these houses and you'd hear that music playing, and they'd have a fog machine. And there was just something awesome about that, because as a kid, I was like, someone's going to try to like scare me. Someone's going to try to get the better of me here. And a lot of times they did. I remember thinking about which houses were going to have the big king-size candy bars. Like, okay, this person's got money. Or you'd go to a nicer neighborhood and be like, I'm going to get way more candy now. And a lot of times you were right. I really don't think we actually know in the moment a lot of the time that, like, this is our last trick or treat. You know what I mean? Like, whatever your last trick or treat was, I don't feel like a lot of us knew. I don't think we really appreciated the moment that we lived in. It sounds so trivial now being a grown adult, but that was a much simpler time. I loved trick-or-treating. I didn't have to pay for all of that candy. Sure, I had plenty of cavities in my younger years, but I didn't really care because that was one of the coolest days of the year. But we didn't really appreciate that moment. Every year trick-or-treating was something we just kind of took for granted because it was something we did. And then one year we woke up and we were just too old. We didn't want to do it anymore, or we didn't feel like it was socially acceptable to do it anymore. And we didn't know at the time that we were never going to have that again. And I still think about that to this day, how like I'm never going to get to have that kind of Halloween experience. Because as you get older, that Halloween experience varies. It's different. It changes. For me now, the Halloween experience is if I get trick-or-treaters, give them candy, which is awesome. I love to do that. Or just watch horror movies until bedtime. That's pretty much what I do every year now. And while I love doing that, there's something I'm always going to miss about being able to dress up and be something that I'm not, and go around and get candy and see all the decorations and just experience that. And I do have my son now, but I don't get to take him every year trick-or-treating. So there's off years where it's not my turn to take him, and I just spend Halloween by myself. I've talked before in so many videos on my channel about how I remember coming home from school almost every day in October and immediately going to the TV and turning on AMC or Cartoon Network or whatever it might be, or Disney Channel, because they were always running something. Some of my favorites as a kid were the Halloween Town movies. Well, the first three, not the fourth one. That one sucked. That one came out when I was like in 7th or 8th grade, and I remember it was after a school dance, and I came home, and it premiered that night. I was like, all right, the new Halloween Town movie, let's give it a go. No, it was awful. We're not going to talk about it. But there were other ones, like even as early as being a small kid and remembering It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which is something I watch every year now. And there's never going to be an October that I don't watch that. Or Scary Godmother, or Courage the Cowardly Dog, or the Halloween movies. There was so much that was a part of my regular rotation. I remember Saturday mornings getting up and turning on Goosebumps early in the morning on Saturday. Should I have probably still been in bed? Yeah. Do I miss those times now and wish I could go back to just having the choice to not wake up? Of course, but there was something awesome about those crisp, cool autumn days, just kind of sitting in the family room with a window cracked open and watching Goosebumps at 9 a.m. It wasn't just the things we watched and the snacks we had and the memories at school. It was other things too, like it just looked different. It felt different. I feel like people were different. Times were so much simpler. 20, 25 years ago, things weren't as crazy as they are today. People weren't as angry as they are today. I felt like on days like that, it didn't really matter what background you came from, who you were, what you liked. It didn't matter. That was a day where everybody had fun and everybody was nice to everybody. The decorations were different too. I mean, do they still do the trash bags that have the jack-o'-lantern faces on them? I honestly don't know. Maybe they do, but that was a staple in our household. My mom would make us rake the leaves, but the benefit of that was putting them in those bags and then having that as decoration up against the front of the house in October. Furthermore, I think back then people were a lot less guarded. In a good way, I mean. Like, kids would go up to a house where a dude would try to scare you with a chainsaw, like a real chainsaw. My buddy's dad would pop out of a coffin and chase kids with a chainsaw, and nobody cared. It was Halloween. I feel like if you did that now, you'd have people calling the cops en masse. And I don't agree with that, because obviously it's not real. I mean, it's a real chainsaw, but it doesn't have the chain on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just part of the experience. Like, it adds to the vibe. And it was so prevalent back then, and I just don't feel like we have that as much anymore. I also feel like not as many people trick or treat. Not as many people take their yearly watches as seriously. They don't keep up with certain traditions. They don't go to the festivals they used to go to, or the haunted houses they used to go to, or, get together with the friends and do traditions that they've done for years anymore. Have Halloween parties. I feel like so often we get caught up in the fact that we are getting older and that life is changing that we feel like we have to entirely change with it. And I don't really think we do. These memories are awesome to hold on to. Nostalgia is really, really powerful, and it makes you sad when you think about these things you don't have or don't do anymore. But it's up to us as people to try to recreate that or recapture that in any way that we can. Earlier this week, I went to a haunted attraction, like a theme park, with a bunch of people that I used to work with and friends of mine. And I did that, and I made a point to do that because I used to do that all the time. And the only excuse to not do that and to miss those things is to simply not do it. You're choosing not to. Or every year I take my son to this fall festival that I've gone to since I was a little kid. And I make sure we go every year because that tradition is never going to die. And I want him to pass that on to his kids. That fall festival where you take the tractor ride up the hill to the pumpkin patch and you get your pumpkin. Every year, that's where you get your pumpkin. You don't go to Kroger or Walmart, no. You go to the pumpkin patch and you get your pumpkin. You hand pick it like everybody else. It's really been hitting me a lot more lately where I'm at in my life and what I have to look forward to and what I have that I'm never going to get back. Sure, I'm not going to have the memories of watching Disney Channel at 10 years old in October anymore, or the Halloween parties at school, or dressing up at school, or going trick-or-treating. I can't have those things anymore. But I can have new things, and I can also try my best to hold on to the things I can still have, like those festivals and those haunted houses, like making those cookies. I know you see those cookies every year when you go to the store. They've always got the box cookies, and it's like, oh, these ones have jack-o'-lanterns on them. These ones have ghosts on them or cats. Like those sugar cookies. We would buy them every year and you just bake them. afternoon on Saturday or Sunday, and mom would put them on the stove and she'd tell nobody to touch them until they cooled down, and I would literally never listen, even though when you grab it, if it's not cooled down, it would fall apart. It was so brittle, but I didn't care because I wanted one, because it didn't feel like October. It didn't feel like Halloween if I wasn't sitting in the recliner in my family room watching Goosebumps or Halloween Town and eating one of those cookies. There are certain things like that that we can try to recreate or recapture in different ways as we get older. I hate aging. I hate it a lot. I think a lot of us do. I think that it changes our perception of every holiday. It changes our perception of everything, honestly. I had kind of an epiphany this Halloween season where I was like, it doesn't have to be that way. I can recapture this in different ways. We can. We can kind of fight back against time. I don't know. There's just something to be said for sitting down at 30, almost 31 years old and watching Halloween Town with my kid. You know, oh yeah, it's for him. It's for him. No, it's not. It's for me. And I'm hoping he likes it. That's the true story about it. Like that's the truth. And I don't think that it's something that we ever need to truly let go of. And especially if you guys are fortunate enough to have kids, it's insanely important to pass those traditions along to them because you can live vicariously through them. They can experience these movies and these traditions and these locations for the first time like you did. And you get to see their reaction. And hopefully they make it a part of their tradition and they pass it on to their kids. That's really the magic of this time of year. It's not about pining after the things you can't have anymore. It's about recapturing that feeling in different ways and continuing it for generations to come. Instilling those traditions and the love of those things into those around you that can, I don't know, carry the torch. It's just been a weird week for me. I've really been thinking about a lot of this stuff recently, and it was just a couple minutes before I sat down to record this where I was like, I think this is the video I want to do tonight. Like, I really feel passionate about talking about this and kind of unpacking this and going on a trip down memory lane. And maybe I'll do this every year because every year things change. You know, every October is a little bit different as I age. And you guys loved that video last year. So I thought, why not? Why not do it again? Honestly, my message to all of you is don't let the little kid in you die. You know, it's never going to be the same, but it doesn't have to be gone completely. Don't give in to time. Don't accept defeat and think that what once was could never be again. No, fight back about that. Recreate it, recapture it, rekindle it. Find ways to bring the kid in you out again. Because that kid in us is always going to be there. No matter how much we physically and mentally age, that little kid that just wants to watch Halloween Town and eat treats, you know, eat candy, drink apple cider, they're always going to be there. So find a way to bring that out again. And who cares what anybody else says? Because one day, like it was our last time trick-or-treating and we didn't know it, it's going to be our last Halloween and we're not going to know it. And I don't want to have any regrets there. And that might sound trivial to some, but this time of year really means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to you guys. Don't take it for granted. Yeah, I got a little heavy there, but I'm going to pass this on to you guys. I want you to join me in the comment section and tell me about some of these experiences that you missed that you know you'll never get back, or ways that you're trying to recapture that feeling. What are some traditions that you're passing on to your kids? What do you hope to feel every year? What do you hope to achieve? And do you feel like you've been successful? Whatever it is, please sound off down below. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this video. I hope you're having an incredible October. Halloween is just around the corner. Again, do not take it for granted. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.